The rain god looks like Nami? Emu and Nidhogg, well, they are not on good terms. And I am reliving my childhood DBZ era through Super Summers in Killingham. Before I get ahead of myself, though, let's take this chapter from the top. And Oda wastes no time as we pick right up where we left off last chapter, with Loki landing a Thorheim on Emu. However, as we also saw last chapter, Emu was able to use his Maki to block the attack, Susanoo style. Loki once again hints at a potential weakness of his full Nidhogg form by stating that he is simply too big to keep track of Emu properly. In a past review, I mentioned the chance that Loki might have the ability to change his size at will. And when looking at some of these panels, it kind of appears that that might be the truth. However, size inconsistencies are common in One Piece, so take this one with a rather large grain of salt. Still, I wrote I am in shock. Maybe I'm not so much in shock that Oda is still gatekeeping Loki's hybrid form from us. He must be saving it for some crazy epic panel, right? And so now, I shall make a prediction. We won't see Loki's hybrid form until Luffy joins the fray. And what this will get us is an epic double-page spread with Sun God Nika Luffy and hybrid form Nidhogg Loki landing a crazy epic combo attack on Emu himself. So Emu smirks, right? Because Emu likes to smirk. And he calls Nidhogg a traitor, stating to think that they would meet again in this world. Now, last week I thought perhaps they had been friends in the past. And I still somewhat think that this is true, right? Because usually, to be a traitor, or be considered a traitor, you must first be on the same side, or at least be perceived to be on the same side. So, going with that, if Emu and Nidhogg were on the same side, was Joy Boy on that same side with them as well? Now, allow me to pose a question for the comments, and perhaps a follow-up video. Was the Great War in the past with the Ancient Kingdom not strictly a war against separate nations, but instead a civil war of some kind? The 20 kings could have been lords or something in the past. Or perhaps most of these major players we are seeing, Emu, Joy Boy, Nidhogg, all came from the Ancient Kingdom and ended up on opposite sides of this civil war. And, maybe one side partnered with these external kings, the 20 kings and queens. Something to think about. We move on to see Emu comment about how snow is being generated from this fight, and then he says something rather interesting. Lightning is born from colliding ice. Together, thine synergy is exceptional. Now this got me thinking, how does lightning form in our world? Now I am a science guy, and in fact I will leave the link to my science channel, Cup of Science Joe, somewhere in the description. Shameless self-plug, I know. But my focus is more in the realms of astronomy, so this was kind of new to me. Now it turns out that within a storm cloud, there are strong updrafts and downdrafts, right? The updrafts carry small water droplets to the freezing upper regions of the storm, where they cool and turn into ice. Then, the downdrafts move that ice back downwards. Now, the ice and water particles, they collide, and during these collisions, electrons are sheared off ascending particles and collect onto the descending particles. This creates a dipole effect. The top of the cloud becomes positively charged, and the base becomes negatively Wait a second. What are we doing here again? In short, I think that the way Loki and Ragnar can create the Ragnar variety of attacks stems from the unique combination of their abilities. Back to the chapter, Emu states that Ragnar is exactly as he remembers, waiting all this time for a new master. From this, we can possibly surmise that Ragnar has not had a master since the Void Century, since the last time Emu would have been around to see him. Here we also gain the official confirmation of what Ragnar is, which is likely a supreme grade hammer named Ragnar, which has consumed the mythical squirrel fruit model Ratatoskr. What this tells us is that while in the current era, Dr. Vegapunk is the one who figured out how to infuse an object with a devil fruit, this is not an idea original to him. Instead, it probably comes from the ancient kingdom, and Vegapunk simply stumbled back into it. So far, we have seen it be limited to zones, and this is no exception, but it does make me wonder if the ancient kingdom could do this with other fruit types as well. Along with this, we need translator Chopper here to tell us exactly what Ragnar is saying, right? He goes, gay, 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 gay. What, gay, gay, Akutani? Do you have a problem with JJK, Ragnar? Jokes aside, I am very curious what he's responding with, and we need Chopper to give us that answer. We see another combo attack where Ragnar, who is still in squirrel form, holds his hand out and produces a cloud of ice, which Loki then shoots off lightning through. And this attack is called Ragna 5 Arrows. 5 arrows, you say? 5 arrows, huh? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a second. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Listen, Loki. Listen up here. Last I checked, 5 and 11 are not the same number. Alright, jokes aside though. What this attack seems to do, right, is produce either beams of light or perhaps maybe railgun style electrically charged ice shards, which either way would be super cool. And as I hinted at before, I now think that these Ragna named attacks, like last chapter's Ragna Izuchi and this chapter's Ragna 5 Arrows, are combo moves specifically performed by Loki and Ragnar. Now, to counter this, Emu casts his Maki eye ring into the sky and uses a move called Zitzi Middle? I'm probably saying that wrong. Zitzi Middle Nova Eclipse. And here we get a translator note stating that the furigana is Zitzi Middle. I'm surely butchering that again, which is an Aztec goddess, and the kanji just reads Eclipse Explosion. So I suppose another name for this attack could be the Aztec goddess's Eclipse Explosion. What it does, right, is create a series of the small, like, little Maki demons with the face that fly down from the ring, and they meet Loki's attack head-on. Now, we can see some of Emu's attack breaking through and possibly hitting Loki, but we cannot see if any of Loki's attacks made it through to Emu. Them intersecting, though, results in a lot of big explosions. And who does not love big explosions? We then cut over to Bonnie, Lilith, and Sanji. And Bonnie says what we, the readers, have also been saying, which is that there is no way she is going to enter the fight especially against Emu. And Lilith is like, you're damn right about that. It's my role to protect you, and there ain't no way on this blue planet that I am letting that happen. And I think that this is as it should be. Bonnie did a lot in Egghead Island, and unless there is something very, very specific that Oda wants to do with her, she has totally earned sitting this arc out. We get some commentary from Lilith too, though, just about, wondering who Emu is. It is clear to her that he outranks the Gods Knights, yet it is also clear to her that he is not one of the elders. She surmises that it is natural for an 8-century-old organization as large as the world government and the Celestial Dragons to have spawned some dark shadows over the course of this time. She trails off, though, unfortunately, not giving us the end of her thought. Vegapunk once again hiding things from us. But in the background of her, we do see an image of Stella. So I suspect that whatever she was thinking it is gotta be in some way tied to Stella's message and his discoveries from Egghead. Maybe even regarding some of the parts that were just completely cut off to us during that message. Sanji starts to get up, despite Bonnie telling him basically that his injuries are not healed yet. But he states to her, I cannot back down. We then get a quick flashback from Killingham approaching him after he had taken Emu's kick right to the face. Killingham is, of course, back up with Maki, and he has gone Super Killingham. He taunts Sanji, stating that while it is impressive that he is breathing after the Great One's attack, that he no longer needs to deal with him. That's what you think, Killingham. That's what you think. I'm going to turn your words against you now and say, keep looking down on us while you can. Sanji asks where Killingham is going, to which he replies to see his mission through now that he is overflowing with power. He then blasts off Team Rocket style, just like Emu and Summers did, while kicking Sanji at the same time. Way to kick a man while he's down, Killingham. Sanji aptly figures out that Killingham is still set on kidnapping the children. He speeds off into the sky with Skywalk, exclaiming to Bonnie and Lilith that Usopp and Luffy admire this country. Not only that, it is his personal duty and calling to protect it, the country of Elbaf, the land of giant beauties. We then cut over to the Owl Library, where Robin and Saul have discovered a hidden underground passage where they find Biblo and all of the books of Ohara that he had saved. And while I really liked the idea of him taking them to the Heaven Realm, it always left the question of how he wasn't spotted doing that. So it does make sense that instead he took them underground and through a route that would be easier to kind of like sneak away in. Robin is grateful to Biblo for saving the books that she thought was already gone. And Saul states the same thing I've been wondering for a while now. Just what in the world is Biblo? The way Saul puts it is that Biblo is more of a mystery than he first reckoned. Now, I really do have a feeling that Biblo might be another ally of Joy Boy from the past. You got Emmett, you got Zunisha, you got Biblo. That's one example. And perhaps even a member of his crew. And that Biblo, in fact, also has the ability to talk, and he is simply holding out on us. Or perhaps Biblo is the man himself, Louis Arnaud, who gave us the warning not to overstay our welcome on Elbaf. Or now, I will toss my crackpot theory into the ring, and let me be frank, I have no basis for this. But Biblo for man marked by flames? Something to think about. Now, I will say that if you like my videos, if you enjoy what I'm doing, if you like my freshly cut beard, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Not only would I greatly appreciate it, but it is just very important for small channels like my own. We see that Summers has grabbed one of the giant's ships and moved it back in place for collecting the kids. And he calls himself, this is where my earlier joke came from, Super Summers. And he lets Killingham know that he has found a ship and that it is in position. He then asks Killingham to get the brats over to him stat. And by stat, I mean within 5 minutes. You hear that, Killingham? 5 minutes. We then get a scene with Chopper's group, and he has patched up Gerd's fingers, letting her know that due to just how clean and perfect Emu's cut was, that the fingers should reattach, but that this process will take a few months. Gerd apologizes, saying that she should be the one treating people, and Chopper's like, listen up, Gerd. Shit happens. Don't feel too bad about it. The kids also thank Chopper for saving their mothers. And then we get Roto. Good old Roto, man. You started out weird, and now you have graduated into full-on gag character. He lets Gerd know that if she needs fingers, he will donate his, to which she swiftly declines. But you know what? She does let Roto know that she has a newfound respect for him after he jumped in to save his brother Bjorn. Roto's fanboy mode goes off the deep end, as naturally he just can't take it. Which is a shame, too, as his brother was like, you know, bro, and I was just starting to look up to you, too. Meanwhile, Goldberg is helping Zoro not to get lost, helping him travel quickly enough to reach his destination in time, as he lacks the long-range mobility that Sanji can achieve using Skywalk. Goldberg thanks Zoro for helping them in the fight at all, to which Zoro does reply in a similar fashion to Sanji earlier, right? This time Zoro is echoing another one of Luffy's mottos in that, my friend's country is my country, implying that it is only natural for Zoro to put it all on the line for this fight. What this does, right, it imparts a true understanding to Goldberg on why Hiruden pledged himself to Luffy to begin with. Zoro comments on Emu's Maki ability, and he confirms that the form of it he got hit with is maybe somewhat different from the form of it that others have been hit with, and that the attack he received turned both into steel bullets and did include the explosives. We see a lot of explosions from how Emu uses Maki. Along with the God's Knights having powered up, seeing that Maki can create some sort of dark steel makes sense, right? As we did see the same sort of thing with Summers' heart in the previous chapters. And so now we are starting to reach the end stages of the chapter, where Killingham calls Summers to inform him that he might have summoned something unexpected. Now, as it turns out, not only can Killingham summon the nightmares of others, but he can also summon that which he himself fears the most. And this nightmare monster seems to have more power than the previous ones. Summers starts freaking out and he exclaims, "Hold on now, Killingham. That is not only terrifying for you, but it is terrifying for all of us." And then he shouts out saying, "Bro, you better be able to control that thing. You brought it about. You better make sure it's on our side." And Killingham says he most likely can, right, as it is a dream demon. It did come from his devil fruit power. But he also says, listen up, Killingham. Or rather, Killingham talking to himself. Listen up, Summers. What's done is done. They also bring up Gunko, who, according to I wrote Killingham. I don't actually remember. Is it Summers or Killingham? One of them said they saw Gunko on the way over and that she looks dead. There's just no way. There's no way. I refuse to believe Oda will kill her off without us getting some more backstory between her and Brook. What we can be certain about, though, is that she did not get powered up in the same way as the other two, which maybe is just because of the way that Emu saw her acting earlier when she saw Brook to begin with. Summers confirms something we all assumed, that Emu's body is not meant to be out in this world. This world, you say? So, I might be kind of overthinking this, or maybe we need to wait for the official translation. But the wording of that is strange to me, because it implies that the Holy Land is somehow cut off in a way that makes it a different world than Blue Planet. Is the Holy Land or parts of it somehow frozen in the past? And that's how Emu can survive there? If so, how can individuals interact with it in the way that Rox did? He strolled in and he strolled out. Regardless, there must be more to that separation than meets the eye. And we are slowly starting to see this through Emu. Killingham and Summers state that the forces from both sides are now in place, and everyone, it is time to lock in. We then see heavy rain start to come down, and a giant hand of water reaches out and snatches the kids. As this happens, Killingham explains that for those born above the clouds, the idea of water falling from the sky is terrifying. Because of this, they had always heard stories not just about the D-Clan, not just about Nika, but also as the monster known as the Rain God, the one who pelts the lower realm with water from overhead. So let's talk a bit about the Rain God Zaza, whom we were just introduced to in Dream Demon form. She who appears with the rhythm of the rain dance. And for starters, she kind of looks like Nami, or perhaps Vivi and Lily. Now, this could very well simply be just Oda's style for drawing women. A lot of them look similar to Nami. That's kind of his art style. But I suppose there might also be something here, right? Perhaps Lily possessed the rain god fruit in the past. And yes, I believe that like how we saw Nika as a dream demon, that the mythical Zaza fruit does exist and is out there somewhere in the world. This means that, appearance aside, I don't really believe that Nami has connections with this anyway. And right now, my running theory is that Mr. Monkey D. Dragon is the individual who possesses this fruit. Back to Zaza herself, though, she has a pretty cool design. She's got 4 arms. She's made totally of water, right? So it's amazing that a devil fruit can create something like this. But it also means that she's kind of potentially like a hard counter to devil fruit users, which is pretty terrifying, except we have a secret weapon on our side. I might have already mentioned this, but she has this Maki-looking water ring behind her and what looks like beaded robes and, wrist jewelry. She is huge, but then again, so were the other dream demons. With this, we also see Zoro and Sanji chasing Killingham and Summers respectively, and I am starting to think that those will be the final matchups, right? So Zoro versus Summers, even though I really wanted to see Sanji versus Summers, and then Sanji versus Killingham. As for the rest of the Straw Hats, I can see them splitting up, perhaps with a group meant for saving the kids, or for destroying the ship, and a group staying behind to fight Zaza. Now, our secret weapon against this dream demon is Mr. Jinbei himself, as not only does he also possess control over water, but he would be entirely resistant to the at least weakness that any devil fruit user would experience fighting the stream demon. And while I really would rather watch Jinbei like fight a God's Knight, like fight an actual opponent, who knows, maybe this will give him something cooler to do than just putting out fires every arc. And then we will of course have Luffy and possibly still Loki and Ragnar versus Emu. Though by the end I do expect it to come down to a one-on-one against Luffy and Emu. God versus God. And so there it is. That's the review. You know, if I missed anything or if there's anything you'd like to discuss, please do so in the comments. I'd love to see what you all have to say and continue the discussion there. Again, if you like this, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon, even if I'm sounding like a broken record. And with that, I, of course, would like each and every one of you to have an excellent rest of your day.